Hey there, everyone. This is Sarah Bissell here, and I wanted to do an overview of how to create a weekly schedule for virtual learning. So, this is something that is really exciting for me to put together. I know I'm going to be using it all the time, and it also gives students and families something pretty user friendly and central so that they can just look at one document and click into their Zoom conferences for the week or their Google Hangouts. So, my goals here during this video are to help you understand the layout of my sample and how to put it together, create the base, add tiles to it, schedule your calls, and link it specifically to a time tile. And so I'll show you what that means in my sample here. So I'm going to show you what my sample schedule looks like. So right here, I have my week already plotted out. I have Monday through Friday, and I have all of the tiles to tell my students where they're going to be when during the week. So we've got our morning meeting, we've got our flex block, we have art, and you'll notice that I have two different colors for Math A and Math B. I'm teaching first grade, so I'm not switching grade levels or anything like that, but I am splitting up my class into smaller groups to make it a little bit easier for virtual learning. This could be an option for your school. If it's not, you can leave it with just one group, but I chose to color code it. I have my lunch. We have our ELA blocks A and B, and then anything that is whole class is going to be listed in purple. So my social studies, science, closing circle, and any of these morning blocks are going to be the whole class. I have my group A, and this over here is where I'm going to be putting my students' names. So any of my students who are in group A are going to know that they are clicking on the Math A tiles and the CKLA A tiles, and they are not going to be clicking on any of the orange tiles. They are only going to be responsible for clicking on the purple and the blue. And my group B is going to be clicking purple and orange. And so they're going to have their names so they know who they are. And then each of these tiles is going to be linked to a Zoom or a Google Hangout so that we're able to just click on it and get right into that conference. So we're going to go back to our second goal right here, which is to create the base, and we're going to do that together. Now, my base has an agenda, which is the Monday through Friday, and then the times. And then it also has any information that my students or families are going to need as far as what they're going to be clicking, what they're going to need to do. So we're going to start fresh with just a plain document. So I'm going to click a new Google Slides presentation, and I am going to switch it over to blank because I don't want a title and subtitle. I just want a blank slide to work from. So I'm going to click layout and blank. I'm going to close out my themes window, and now I have a blank document. I need to add in my weekly agenda. So I'm going to do a Google search for something that will work for me. I ended up doing a lot of cropping, so I'm going to choose one that's a little bit simpler for us to work through together. You can search weekly agenda on Google, and you can scroll through until you find something that is a good fit for what you need. So you can click through different options. This one has times and the days of the week, but the main things that I'm looking for are a week that starts on Monday. I really love that so that I only need to take off Saturday and Sunday. And I have the times, and I have these rectangles to make it really easy to create those tiles. So I like this one a lot. I'm going to right click and choose open image in new tab. And then I'm going to copy my image, right click and copy image. And I'm going to take it right back to my document and paste it in. I have to do some cropping here because I'm not teaching Saturday and Sunday, and I'm not teaching after about 4 o'clock. So I'm going to crop my image, and I'm going to take off Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to choose to end it at 3:30 because that's my last session. I may have office hours or other calls, but we're going to crop it there. I'm using my crop tool right at the top. And then I'm going to drag it up, and I'm going to resize it so that it fits really nicely on my slide. The next step is going to be to create the tiles. So we'll look back at our goals. We want to add tiles to our schedule here. So I want to start out maybe with a morning meeting on Monday. So I want to go up to shapes and choose a rectangle. I need to choose the time for my morning meeting on Monday. So if I want to have it going from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., I'll create my tile. And once you're done, I'm noticing that mine blends in to my agenda. It's not very bold, so I'm going to scroll right up here to where I see this paint bucket, and it says fill color when I hover over it, and I want to choose something nice and bright for my students and their families. Now, this is a shape, but you can actually use it as a text box. So I'm going to double click it and it'll give me an option to type in it. Now, if I type morning meeting, it's really big. So I can either leave it that way, or if I want to add in the times, I can make it a little bit smaller and I can let my students and families know that this morning meeting is going to be going from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. I can make it bold, I can play around with the font, whatever you would like to do to make it easily accessible or fit your needs for your class. The next step, that now that I've added a tile, is to actually link the Zoom call or the Google Hangout that I've created for this. Now I'm using Zoom. I'm going to go and schedule the call. So I need to take a look at this. I'm going from 8 to 9 on Monday. So I'm going to open up Zoom and I want to schedule a meeting. New meeting is going to start one right off the bat. I want to schedule one in advance, and it's going to automatically pull up my name and call it a Zoom meeting, but I want to call it morning meeting. And I know that it's going to happen on Monday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. So I want to double check on those times, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Now, I do want to select it as a recurring meeting. And when you do this, it's going to bring you into Google to actually edit the times and the invitations for this. So I'll select recurring meeting. I won't go through each of these options, but I will let you know that you want to click into advanced and mute your participants on entry. That's a really, really helpful thing to remember. So what I'm going to do is click schedule, and now it's going to take me over to Google. It's going to ask me to sign in so that it can get into my Google Calendar and we can sort out all the details. You may not see this if you're not using Gmail with your Zoom, but I am, so I'm going to allow it access to my calendar. And then I'm going to see the event details. So I need to do some editing in here. I see that it's going to be on Monday, July 27th from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., but I want it to be repeating. I don't want to have to create a new schedule and a new meeting every week. I want this to be something that students and families can just go to every week of virtual learning, and I'm always going to be using the same link at the same time. And so I want to say that instead of does not repeat, it is going to repeat weekly on Monday, or you could say it repeats every weekday. So I'll select the every weekday option. I'm going to save it. And now in my Google Calendar, I'm going to click ahead to preview. And if I scroll up, I see my morning meeting is already loaded. I click to the next week. It's already there. Click to the next week. So it's all there in my calendar, and I can click on it and actually get that Zoom link. So I see join Zoom meeting. I'm going to right click on this link and click copy link address. When I go back to my presentation, this is the step where we're linking the tile. So I'm going to click on this tile and I'm going to right click and say link. When I click link, it'll open up this bar where I can add the link and paste it. I'll apply, and now my Zoom link or my Google Hangout is actually linked to this specific tile. So when my students or their families present this document, or if you share it as view only, when they look at the weekly schedule and click on that tile, they'll be taken straight to the Zoom meeting, which is really, really helpful because now it takes all of the guessing out of sending out links over and over again, or students and families wondering when they have to be where. Everything is right here. So when I go through my sample schedule and add those Zoom links, this is the document that my students and their families are going to be looking at every week of virtual learning, and they're going to be using the same links every time. I'll be collaborating with the specials teachers and with the intervention teachers to be linking their meetings as well. And so this can be a really collaborative effort. Administrators can be using this as well to have a collective schedule for their school. You can have multiple slides in this presentation. So if you're teaching different sections or different grade levels, you can have one comprehensive schedule, or you can separate, color code anything you need that fits your needs for your classroom.